Hello, I'm here today to do my video for the week. I didn't really know what to talk to you about this week because, quite honestly, life has got in the way and things have been too hectic. I've had Ofsted in today, I've had 220 kids doing anti-bullying day, I've now got a cold because it's half term and inevitably I always get a cold. I'm off doing things this weekend and all next week for half term, and I just didn't really know what to talk about. Mostly because I'm in a funny situation at the moment where I don't really have anything I want to read, particularly. I don't really have any review books. I'm hoping that will change after this weekend. And therefore, I thought let's change it up a bit because I've really sort of almost fallen out a little bit of love with reading. And it's not that I've done that at all. It's just that I've not really got anything exciting in my hand that I really want to read. So I thought let's change that. So I have decided on Goodreads I have a list of about 35 favourite books of mine. Some of which I've read in the last 4 years, some of which I haven't. And all the ones that I haven't read since I started blogging, I am planning to reread between now and Christmas just because I can. And just because I think it'll make me excited about reading again. So I started last week, before Ofsted, anti-bullying conference and all that kind of stuff, rereading Hunger Games, then Catching Fire. Halfway through Catching Fire at the moment, I'm loving both of them, and I'm really loving the fact that I've read them back to front and sort of close to each other. And then I'm going to move on to the last one, which I didn't like actually at all when I read it the first time, but I'm thinking maybe that was because I had such a gap. Maybe reread them back to front might be brilliant. So yeah, these are. It's got a really lovely, disgusting tone at the moment. It is really just gross on every level. These are the books I'm going to reread between now and Christmas, just because I can. 1. God the Soldiers by Marge Piercy. It's huge. It's awesome. I love it. It's split up between about 12 different characters, and the narrative split between them, and it jumps backwards and forwards, and they all link up, and it's brilliant. I'm going to reread that. I'm going to read this series. Lots of Crosses. Haven't reread it for years and years, well before I was blogging. Very excited. The Book Thief. I was going to reread it recently before I watched the film. It didn't happen because I was busy with all the other 100 things that's going on in my life. Go reread it. Stolen. I actually bought this for myself years ago when I was sitting there thinking, oh my god, what can I read next? It caught my eye on Amazon because before I discovered bookshops properly again, because I hadn't read anything for ages, and this is what I read and I loved it, so I'm going to read it again. The Host. Another one I've read, watched the film since, meant to reread it, didn't get around to it, didn't have time, so I'm going to read The Host. I'm very excited about it despite the creepy cover. No, it's just creepy. Before I Die. Going to read this one again, another one. I've watched the film, liked the film, would like to go back and read it and compare it. I remember really enjoying it, and it made my friend John Boy cry, which was my proudest moment, if we're honest. Uglies. Haven't read this in about 8 years. Gonna read it. Gonna reread the whole series. I'm very excited because I love Tally. Tally is my favourite. Tally is literally my favourite. She was my favourite before Katniss was my favourite, and even now I still think Tally is possibly my favourite. She's just exciting. Time Traveller's Wife. Haven't read that since my brother's passed out parade and he's been in the Marines about 5 years now. And I'm reading this when I went down to see him down there, and it was terribly exciting. Yeah, it was his passed out parade when he became a Marine. I'm going to reread it. Otherwise, I've watched the film, didn't like the film, but I'm hoping that I'll read this and I like it again. And finally, they're all ones where I've watched the film. Pretty much. That's bizarre. I hadn't even thought of it like that, but they are. All of them. Never mind. Finally, the series that I'm so excited to reread. Northern Lights. Just literally beyond belief excited about this one because I read this first when I was 17. So it's been a long while because my husband, who wasn't my husband then, bought it for me one Christmas because I read a lot of his stuff because I didn't have any books of my own that weren't kids' books, and he bought me this, not this edition, he bought me a paperback edition, but then I bought this one because it's beautiful. And I loved it, and I bought the next one, and I don't think this one is signed. No, it's not, but the rest of my series is signed, and I was like, yes, another one I read to watch the film. All the film books. Yes. So, They are the books that I am planning to reread between now and Christmas, mostly because it will make me excited about reading again. Yes, I've had a lot of caffeine today, and a lot of sugar, probably a bit too much paracetamol, if we're really honest with it. And I've had a day of 200 kids. So yes, I am slightly mental today.